new session that we're starting, a new series called Debug on a Budget, and I'm here with my friend and colleague Jeremy Cook. Jeremy, say hi.
Hey, how you doing, Brandon? How you doing, everybody? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, for sure. As Jeremy pointed out, I'm Brandon in the DevHeads community. I'm also known as TechieLou, and you can find out more about DevHeads if you go to https://devheads.io. And I just put that in the chat if you're here in the Meetup platform. Also in the Meetup platform, before we get going, I'm going to take you for a quick cruise around to make sure you know what you are dealing with. There's a chat function, which I've been chatting and putting information into. There's a place for questions, which we're really going to want you to participate in the event today. So if you have questions for Jeremy about this Westo Big sort of 3-in-1 oscilloscope, multimeter, and what else is it? What else is it, Jeremy?
Yeah, it's a oscilloscope, multimeter, and a signal generator. So it's really, I've been really impressed with this this thing. It's I don't know, it's a nice, kind of makes me wish I'd gotten one. I got another I got an O1 scope, which we'll kind of look at, but yeah, it's a nice little form factor. Fits on nicely in your hands, and you know, I hope I'm not interrupting your intro there, Brent.
No, not at all. No, so yeah, like Jeremy said, if you have questions about this or just about some general debug things and in general, feel free to drop them either in the chat or into the questions box, and we'll get to them as many as we can. And then the great thing, of course, about being involved in the community is that even if we can't answer them live, you can jump into either the Discord server that we have or onto the website, and we will have somebody try to respond, provided that it's not an insanity level question, but we do our best to help each other out. So feel free to take advantage of that resource. The things that are really important besides the chat and the questions are, if you are in the Meetup tool, all the way at the bottom left, there's a help wizard. And if you're having trouble viewing the stream, hearing things, go through that wizard. A lot of times it has to do with configuration of your browser settings or your network bandwidth. If you are unsure about your bandwidth, go to speedtest.net. If you're pulling less than 5 megabits per second down, you might have some issues. Not much we can do about that, but what we can do is we are recording this, so you'll be able to come back and take a look at it a little bit later. If you're out there on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever you are, use your native platform functionality. Chat there. We'll have people cruising around looking to answer questions and pull them back in here for Jeremy while he goes through the material. So usually the format of this kind of thing is that Jeremy will go through a little bit of a presentation, and then we'll take your questions at the end. I'll sort of be hanging out here with Jeremy while he goes through the material. And yeah, we are really excited to kick off this new series. And at this point, I'll stop talking and I'll start listening. Jeremy, you want to take it away?
Yeah, so like you said, we'll be going over the Westo Big, and presumably that's how you pronounce it. I don't really know the FNIRSI. That even less I know how to pronounce it. But the Westo Big FNIRSI 3-in-1 oscilloscope, multimeter, and signal generator. So this, like I was telling Brandon, I've been really impressed with this little tool. Having gone over it, it's nice. It's like a big Game Boy or something. I don't think it plays any games or anything, but it's a let's see, it's a two channel 10 megahertz bandwidth. So it's not, it's not the highest end bandwidth as far as that goes. Takes 50 mega samples per second, and has a storage depth of 30 kilobytes. Anyway, it does a lot of great things, and like I was saying, it's maybe low end as far as its specs go, but if you're out like working in your car or something, or just need a scope, right here, I think it's awesome. And it even has a really good battery life. I think it's supposed to last like 6 hours in laboratory conditions, but that's been a lot better than the scope I have that I've been using before. But all that being said, I guess you probably want to know what's in the box when you get it. So Brandon, can we go ahead and show that video that I sent over?
Sure thing. Here, give me a second. Let me know if you need me to stop it or not.
Sure. Yeah. If you were to, let's see, I guess I can stop it myself too if I want to, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Yeah, so it's got a nice, nice packaging. You know, obviously you're probably not going to buy this at the store, probably like at Amazon or something like that. But you know, if it was to get packaged at, you know, Walmart or wherever else people buy electronics these days, it's pretty good. Also has a pretty good manual, which I'll be taking apart, you know, opening up right here. We'll take a look at that maybe a little later.
So one thing, Jeremy, is what is your daily driver? What's the scope that you use? You mentioned that a little bit before.
Okay, yeah. Well, I use the. Let me just pause this for a second. I use this O1 scope. Let's see. So it's a. I'll open this up here. It's basically the same thing, but like an even more. I don't know. It's like this, like the miniature version, a little bit more streamlined. And the O1 scope, it's got a bit better specs as far as the. I think it's maybe 100 megahertz or something like that. These have some different settings depending on what you want. But you know, the cool thing about it is actually the not cool thing about it. The cool thing about this is that it's got such a better battery life. This one's I'm always having to recharge, and you know, it works fine. I mean, it's great for what it is and great for when I got it. But I think you know, the good and the bad thing about stuff like this is this technology is always advancing. So, you know, like you buy a camera, you know, I've got a Sony A6600, which is actually still pretty awesome. But, you know, you buy something and it's like, oh, well, this isn't as good as the next one.
Right.
You know, but
it's back in the day when we used to, when everybody was buying, when TVs were super expensive, remember, you'd be like, I'm about to spend like $1,500, $2,000 on a TV, but in 3 months, it's going to be, you know, last year's model. Right.
Oh yeah. No, I was at Walmart or so. I don't go to Walmart a lot, but I was there and I see this TV. It's like a 42-inch TV for like $300. And I'm like, wasn't that supposed to be like $4,000?
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Showing my age here, I guess. But yeah. So back to the unboxing. Let's take a look at that a little bit more. Let's see what's in the thing. You got some probes, both some oscilloscope probes. You get 2 of them. That's nice, and then two voltmeter probes too, which obviously you need 2 of those. And yeah, it's a great looking screen. I'm glad I took this video because, you know, I don't know that my webcam's going to show the screen as well as it could, but it's nice. What is it? How big is that screen? You know, you can't find it when you need it, but it's big enough that it looks pretty good. And then it comes with 2 oscilloscope probes, which is nice. You know, 2 channels, 2 probes. The O1 only came with 1 probe, so I guess you could make some terrible, you know, dad joke. You know, O1, it's only got one probe. Yeah, so it comes with a USB-C to A connector. You know, that's probably fine. I'm not sure I've even used it. Also has this output for the signal generator, so you can actually use the signal generator, and you can pump signals into your scope if you feel like it. You can use them both at the same time. And as I'll show in just a second, that actually works pretty well. So there, I'm going to hook up the voltmeter probes. You got the common, the negative, and then you've got your voltage input, and then you've got the milliamp signal input and the amperage signal, current signal, which I think goes up to 10 amps. Yeah, so that's nice. And this I'll go over in just a second. I was trying to figure out how to plug these in, but the one thing, as much as I love this form factor, the one mistake that they made, I feel like, is that they made the knobs, made it so there's not, like, if they just made it like a couple millimeters higher, then you can more easily get your hands in there and you know, twist it down. Now, you know, I'm a pretty big guy. I have pretty big hands. I think the same thing with Brandon. I don't know how big your hands are, but I know you're what, 6'6", 6'7" or so, right? So you probably can't reach your fingers in there either. So if you're a small person, maybe that's good for you. I don't know. Yeah. So that being said, I was able to slide them in there. Friction fits pretty well, but I don't know how you're supposed to clamp it down because I didn't do that too well. The menu, you can see here, you've got the scope, you kind of go through on the directional pad and scope, the signal generator, and the voltmeter, of course. So this is nice zoomed in on it. Again, you can see the screen. It looks very good. And I think they made, with the exception of the clamps for the probes, I think they did a really good job on this mechanically. One thing I didn't really show there, it's got a nice little I don't know, what do you call it? Stand. That's right, stand. I'm a professional journalist, but I can't remember names. Can't remember words like that sometimes.
It's all about the reporting. It's not about the writing.
That's right. I'm not a record. I'm great if I'm able to, Google, like, oh, what's that term for, what is this called? An oscilloscope. So yeah, so we'll get into this in just a second. One thing, looking at the stats on this, it's what I was saying, 10 megahertz. Now, the one thing we talked about, like how things improve and stuff through time. Now the form factor is just about the same, but looking this up on Amazon the other night, I see they've actually got a new version, the 2C53T, which actually has a 50 megahertz bandwidth and a 250 mega sampling rate. So, if you're going to buy something like this, I would definitely recommend looking at the 2C53T. But, as far as the form factor, we'll be able to show that off pretty nicely because it looks exactly the same. All right, so we've done the unboxing.
Real quick, Jeremy, just so you know, I dropped the link to this one in there. This is the 23T, correct?
Okay, yeah, the 23T, that's the one we have here. So yeah, you can see that on the you're not focusing too well, but yeah, 23T. So you can check that out on Amazon. I tried to look it up on AliExpress the other day just to see if I could find a better price for it. But I, you know how that is. It's kind of hard to search sometimes.
No, for sure. But the one last thing that's great about this, the most important feature is it's $90 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. It was like 90 something dollars, and there was a $10 coupon on it too. I mean, even the new version was about the same price. So it's mind. You think, like, you go back and show this to somebody 10 years ago, and they'd be like, what? Crazy. I remember my grandfather had an oscilloscope that was like, with the circle and like the thing. And I don't know what the bandwidth on that was, but I bet it wasn't. I bet it cost way more than this and was way worse than it. So, but that being said, I guess we should actually check out the scope. All right. So what I'm going to do, I was trying to figure out how to do this so I could actually, show everybody. And for this class, I actually developed something. It's a new invention that I'm going to show off here. It's called the CamView 5000. So what I'll do is I'll take my webcam off the thing here, off my computer, and turn it around here. And you can't see my face anymore, but I think that's okay. What do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Okay, so cool. So we got a first-person view here of the scope. So as I'm doing this, if you guys have any questions, let me know, and we can hopefully, I can do the thing, I guess. But all right. So first of all, turn it on. You press the power button. Now, a lot of these buttons, they have a long press and a short press mode. In this case, the power button, you just press it and it comes on. I would have probably liked it to be a long press for turning off and turning on, but it's just a short press, and that's okay. All right, so we go into this, and yeah, the color doesn't. Yeah, the webcam doesn't do the color justice, but you could see the color from the video I took earlier, and hopefully this will at least give you some idea of how it operates. All right, so from here, you've got the directional pad, you've got an oscilloscope, got configuration, multimeter, a signal generator, and the oscilloscope, and just kind of loops around and around like you're playing Pac-Man or something. You go through the exit and you come out here. But all right, so first let's go into the configuration, because I guess that's the that's important. You got English and these other languages that I don't know, Portuguese. Um, Doesn't look like I have Spanish. That's kind of surprising. Oh, and I don't want to go into Cyrillic, I guess. Or all right, so yeah, so it's a language. Maybe they have Spanish somewhere, but anyway, so language volume. This is only 10%, and I usually keep it there. Very granular. I don't know why they have it that leveled like that. Auto shutdown. The cool thing is I keep this off, but you can keep it for 15 minutes to up to an hour. Battery life is so good that generally I keep this off, but you should probably take it to an hour or something. Brightness default about et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, let's go ahead and get out of there. Let's see. All right, menu. So press menu, and that goes back. So that from there, we will go into the voltmeter, because that's kind of the, let's see, voltmeter, multimeter. So multimeter, press the play pause button, goes into there. And right now it goes into an auto mode. Now, one thing I'd like to show off before I forget about it, and when you're in the voltmeter, you can actually use these top 3 buttons. If you hold them down, they'll go into the different modes. So I think this is oscilloscope. So if you hold this down, bam, right into oscilloscope. Or you can go back into the menu with menu. But anyway, so we'll show that off a little bit more. But we'll get into let me go through my box here. Got to get the probes out for the oscilloscope. All right, so let's see. Got all this stuff. It looked a lot better when I was just unboxing it. So, but now it's all put together. That, and now I need the ground or the common. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, there's the common probe. Good. All right. So with this, you guys have probably all used a multimeter before. You plug in the common, and you plug in the positive, or I guess you call it positive. Okay, plug that in. Seemed like it worked pretty well before. All right, so, all right, there we go. So it's on auto now, and I think it actually tries to tell what kind of measurement you're trying to do. So if you got my 9-volt battery, which I don't know the charge state in this, but we'll go ahead and plug in. Let's see, is this positive? Okay, that's the smaller one's positive. So plug that in. It's an auto right now, and positive, negative, and oh, look at that. It's a good battery, and yeah, it looks good. Now, Brandon, will you see this? Do you see a mirrored image of this, or is it correct?
No, looks good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, on my screen it's mirrored, so just
Right.
but good for you. It's to anybody watching, it is correct. It's not you don't have to watch through a mirror, but you don't have to worry about that anyway. So you got voltage. You've also got different options, and you do the short presses on this. You can go through, let's see, voltage, diode tester, and I think I want to say I've got. Let's see. Well, anyway, it'll do it. I think you can do LEDs if you want to, and different stuff like that. You got temperature, which I guess you need to get a thermocouple, but actually this maybe, I'm not exactly sure what that's measuring, but it does have a temperature setting. And then let's see, high current and then low current. So you just press that twice. So, high current would be, I guess that, and the low current would be the one that says MA. So milliamps. Let's just go ahead and try the high current on the 9-volt battery. Hopefully it won't get too hot. I'm right here. I don't necessarily recommend this, but a low current, So high current. All right. So, all right. So negative, positive, and we'll see what happens. Negative, positive, and how much current can it supply? Oh, all right. Negative, positive. All right. So it's showing 1.4, 1.3. Yeah, it's just draining pretty fast. So we'll go ahead and stop that because you don't really want to do that too much if you can avoid it. But you can see there all the standard multimeter functions that you would expect out of something like this. Of course, the thing that's really you probably want to see on this is the oscilloscope. So if we go to that, so if we press this, hold it down, it should go right into the scope settings. All right, so all right, yep. So it's just a short press with the power, and I think it should be a long press if I had to design it myself. But all right, so we'll put these probes away for the time being, and we'll go ahead and get out the oscilloscope probes. Got one there, and then got another there, another here. So, oh, and while I remember, it's like I was saying, it does have a pretty nice manual. It's way more usable than most things. I was going over this last night, and it's pretty good. If you read Cyrillic, I guess you can use that, or yeah, but it's got the English in front, so that's a nice thing. All right. So anyway, these scope probes, hook them up. In this case, I'm just going to push them in because, I mean, you can fasten them down, but especially with two side by side, you're not gonna, it's going to be pretty hard. So 1, 2. All right. So got that. Just showing some a little bit of static right now, but channel 1 is actually blue, which I was watching another review on this, and they were saying that blue is generally the first channel is like a yellow or orange, whereas the second is, I guess the second is blue, but in this case this is blue. So if you're OCD about that, that might be a problem. Channel 1, you can turn it off or on, and then channel 2, go ahead and turn that on as well. So at this point we're just seeing the static and stuff. You could press the auto key to get it to do its thing. It's not really doing much of anything. But if we want to, we will, let's see. Why don't we go ahead and activate the signal generator too? So if you put this on here, signal generator, and all you have to do is press this, hold it down, and goes right into the signal generator. So you've got a sine wave signal, square wave, triangle, half, full, noise, DC. Yeah, so DC. And then you can modify things by, you press the right button, and then you can modify the frequency, the current, or amplitude, sorry, and the duty cycle, I believe. Although not sure yet how you get into that exactly, because it just kind of, because the sine wave is, the duty cycle is always what it is. So let's see, square wave. In this case, you can select the duty cycle. There is 90%. Let's go ahead and turn that down a little to 50%. Amplitude 1.3 volts. We'll just leave it there. And we got it on. So this should be, I should be able to connect this to channel 1 and ground up, and hook the positive up. And now when I go back into the scope mode, should show that. So, all right. So what we do, so I'm not sure what's going on here exactly. So I press auto, and should show me something. Well, it is showing me something, but I'm not real sure about it. So let's go back into the this mode. All right, and you know what? We'll just go ahead and go with a sine wave in this case. Oh, you know what? The frequency was only 1 hertz, so 1 cycle per second. So let's turn that up a little bit. Kind of hard to see just 1 cycle per second. So we'll say 100 hertz. 100 hertz. Judy. Okay. So with that on, we'll go into scope mode. And there we go. We can see it right there on channel 1. We could turn channel 2 off. You can see there. And then if we want to modify this a little bit, what we can do is say, so go and move and move that down there. You know, unfortunately, if you hold it down, it doesn't really have I mean, it moves it, but it kind of doesn't keep going so you can see it. I don't know. It just kind of like pops off and on. So yeah, that's a bit annoying, but it's okay. And then let's see, right and left. I think that's modifying the where it goes. You can also modify the trigger, I believe, with the cursor. So you see that little pink spot right there on the right. So that cursor goes up and down. So once we have this off, then it should just go. Okay, so you can modify that with that. Trigger type, in this case, it's auto, so maybe that's why it wasn't doing quite what I expected. So you can put normal or single. So I'm going to do normal, and now you can control the trigger pretty well. Trigger level. So that's just channel 1. You know, let's just say if I hook this up to channel 2 as well, it'd be the same signal, of course, but we'll just do that to see what's going on. Okay. All right. So if I turn on signal 2, it should show both of them. So channel 2 on. Oh, wow. Channel 2 is at a different scale. So if we want to modify this, channel 2, probe coupling AC DC, you can change it between coupling AC or DC there. So, you know, that's whether it's going, you know, vibrating about the 0 point or it's kind of going up and down. Yeah, so you know, you can do all that. You know, you can kind of see the display here. One thing that's pretty neat about this is this little icon here shows you what kind of what's actually going on with the signal generator. So when you're in scope mode, you don't have to necessarily go back to the signal generator. So like if you want to do a square wave, you can go there, and then you just go there, and you see it pops up as a square wave. It's probably kind of hard to see on this screen, but it's kind of nice to have that icon there just so you can kind of see what's going on. Another thing I should point out about this, if you say if you click save, it'll actually save the thing and save the screenshot. So you hit that, hold it down, and you can go into it and say, oh, what does that look like? That's what it looked like. And I believe you can also export that to your computer via the USB connection, which also charges it right there. So, yeah, so that's kind of what you know, very brief overview of the signal generator and the oscilloscope. Now, I had a couple other questions, well, a couple other experiments. One thing I wanted to look at was I've got an Arduino Uno right here, and it's actually giving out signals for a what would be a servo. So if I plug this in and everything's still as it should be, if I plug these two in, it'll actually view the all right, take this out, take this off, actually view the signals on both of them. So it's actually supposed to be two servos kind of going varying how they act. So let's go ahead and hook up the ground to ground, get the green for ground, and then got one signal as black and one signal is yellow. So signal there. All right, signal there. All right, so All right, so we got this and should be able to go to auto mode. And, oh, play it. I wonder why that's not working. Oh, you know what? I think maybe, let's see if I'm in menu, oscilloscope. All right, there we go. I think it was actually displaying the picture from before. I don't know if you guys have ever done a prank where you, put a picture of a desktop on somebody's desktop. It's not very nice. So if I hit say auto and goes down, and there it goes, displays it. Just checking things out. And took a second, but you can see there's the two signals. One signal 1 is getting smaller while signal 2 is getting larger, and you can modify that. You can, let's see, so channel 1, channel 2. Oh, one thing I should put here, the PRM, you press this and it actually show like what kind of values you want to display on everything. So that's kind of, it's kind of neat. Channel 2 VPP. Let's see if you hold it down. Oh, there we go. And if you hold it down, it'll display it. So all that stuff, the frequency 50 hertz, which I guess that's what a normal radio controlled servo is. I don't know that off the top of my head, but it's pretty close, I guess. Voltage. Oh, okay. So this says voltage is 58.71. So that's a little weird, but one thing I should point out is that channel 2 is most likely on a 10 times probe. So you put it to 1 times probe, then all of a sudden the voltage makes a whole lot more sense. And that's one thing that, these probes, they have 1 time or 10 times, and you can switch them back and forth. So if I switch this 10 times, it goes way down. And if I do switch this back to 10 times to compensate for that probe 10 times, this is really confusing me at first, but actually when you switch it, it still looks the same, but at the VPP, that the voltage that goes way up. So just something to think about. You actually kind of have to adjust it yourself, I guess, but that might be confusing, maybe not. So, all right, so channel 2, and you can adjust these. Let's see, move channel 2. So you can move that down, and channel 1, move. You can move those together. That takes a minute. All right, good. And then take that off, and I think this will zoom in. Yeah, this zooms in on the time base. Oop. And then that'll actually zoom in on the side, the scale of it. So channel 2, zoom in on the scale. Overall, I think the user interface is pretty good. It took me a lot less time to figure out than the OON scope that I was using before. Now, that being said, I have a lot more experience with OON scope, so I guess some of that, some of what I learned with this probably transferred over to this. So, the OON, it's a bigger screen, bigger body, but I think this does a pretty good job. Let me just turn this on. You got to hold it down and turn it on. A little bit bigger screen, nice. I would say the interface probably isn't quite as nice, but something to think about. This is HDS 2102S, and I think this is actually quite a bit more expensive, but it's also a more capable device. So, something to think about, consider, I guess. But for low end type stuff, I mean, if you're working in a car or something that doesn't necessarily need, 100 megahertz or gigahertz or whatever, I think this device would be pretty good. So that being said, one other thing I wanted to kind of show off with this is I've got this amplifier, this positive grid amplifier, guitar amplifier, and what I was going to do is actually hook up the output to that, so I can actually play this like a musical instrument or something. So let's go ahead and unplug this and that, and I'll put this to the side. Yeah, trying to keep this all organized is a bit of a challenge with a project like this, but something, you know, it's live stuff, I guess. And then, all right, so with this, one cool thing that I found a while ago online is this it's like an audio style jack, 1/4 inch audio style jack to a coaxial for an oscilloscope. So I think this can work either way, but if you take it to the output here, plug it in, and if I plug it into my amp, then we can actually hear what kind of signals it's putting out, or we should. So I'll just warn you, I don't quite know what's going to happen now, so you may want to turn down your volume. Let's see. Oh, all right. So sorry about that. That was an obnoxious sound, but yeah. So if we go to, let's see, go straight into the signal generator. Should go in the signal generator. All right. So 1 hertz. That's what we're hearing right now. Sine wave. All right. Or we can switch it to a square wave, triangle wave, half wave, full, noise, and DC, which doesn't really do anything. So yeah, that's a bit obnoxious. Let's see, but you know, it's pretty neat anyway. So okay, I was just thinking I had one other experiment that I could do. What do you think, Brandon? Should we check that out? So
always more experiments.
okay, so yeah, I got one more experiment. This one's in this case, I'm actually going to use the this, but I'm going to do as an input. So I'm gonna switch from my you know, from my CamView 5000 to the normal view. All right, so all right, let's let that focus. All right, cool. So yeah, one other experiment I had, you know, and this is, you know, I think it's a cool thing for this, but I think it's also, you know, kind of cool to show off the how this this coaxial to audio jack works. I think this is pretty cool. I experimented with this last night just to see if it would work, but let's see if I can see it. All right, so you can see that. That's not what we want. All right, so we will put it into oscilloscope mode. All right, so what I'm going to do is actually hook this up to my guitar, and we'll see if I can actually see the sine waves on this. So plug this in. All right, and then it's got these 3D printed pics that I made a while ago. So let's see what we can see here. So let's see what we can do is so I got a lot of stuff to hold at the same time, but if I hit auto, all right, so I'll play the tune and then hit auto. All right, so that's pretty cool. So that it can teach itself what's going on. Hit the auto. And you can see lots going on there when you strum all the notes at the same time. But if you just strum like one, then it's a little bit more well defined. I guess in theory you could probably tune a guitar this way, although I because you know it's displaying the let's see, hertz. Let me just see something. All right, so if we go to that, we can display the duty cycle, average the frequency. I got that up. So yeah, in theory, you know, you got a frequency display there. So it's not focusing too well. But in theory, that frequency could tell you what your guitar is playing. So I guess you could tune your guitar based on that. So Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool that you can do that. You know, I was thinking if this had a like an AV out, which I don't believe it does, that'd be a pretty awesome like you know, like stage display or something. You could have that like on TV, showing what kind of sine waves and stuff is coming off your guitar. So yeah, any requests? I'm not that good of a guitar player, but um good enough for this experiment at least. Yeah, but speaking of that, is there anything else you guys want to see with this scope? You know, I'm happy to, you know, if there's something you haven't seen me do, something you want to see as far as the interface or whatever else, I'm happy to poke around with it on screen. What do you think? Anything?
You know, I've got a question. So if you want to record or like capture from this, do you have any recommendations on how you would do that? Like what sort of programs or anything that you would use to capture?
So as far as capturing the sine waves and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't have a great recommendation on that. I'm sorry to say. I mean, you can, as we kind of pointed out earlier, if you press the save key, I mean, it's just like right there. You press a save, and it'll actually save the waveforms and stuff, and you can output that as a, I think it's a bitmap file.
Okay.
I don't think you get actual. You know, it'd be nice, but I don't think you get actual Excel or, you know, a tab delimited, comma delineated file or anything like that. So I don't know that this would be great for, you know, like signal recording, but it does have the ability to capture them at least.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. And I mean, what we're talking about here is something that's $90, and it's for, I think right now it's it's $96, and 7% off takes you back down to 89 US. So I mean, it's honestly, it's pretty impressive. Like, how much was the OWON scope, by the way?
I want to say it was. I mean, that comes in different
flavors,
different specs. I mean, I think this is one of the higher spec ones, but you know, I think there's somewhere from 100 to 200 depending. So this one is certainly more than this. I mean, if I remember right, the having the signal generator in this actually cost a decent amount more. Having the higher spec, you know, I think the 100 megahertz, if I'm correct on that, you know, that was a bit more. So, you know, I guess you might say that this is a bit more granular as far as what you can get. But you know, I bought this a year or two ago, maybe it was 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know. So the price on this may have gone down, and just the fact that, you know, buying this today, you know, maybe it's not a fair comparison, but it seems like a very, you know, very good. But I'll tell you what, the one thing that the OWON did right, they've got these the probes. This is all recessed, so you can get your fingers in there, twist it, all good. I hate to like make a big deal about that. It shouldn't be a big deal, but it's like,
well, especially when you, like you said, when you have like shack hands like us, right?
Yeah, really.
How much does the CamView 5000 retail for?
Yeah, so I'm selling these for yeah, it's actually it's fully open source. In fact, I'll describe it right now. It's just you know, a piece of 2x6, and you just write CamView 5000 on it, a couple of screws, and you know, you can just put your webcam on it. It's I wonder, I imagine, you know, doing stuff like this and recording videos and whatever else, you know, CamView 5000 didn't appreciate me insulting it like that, because it just gave me a splinter. You know, stuff like this, you think, oh, you know, holding your camera in the right way, it's kind of a secondary thought, but then you get into it and it's like, how do I do this?
Yeah.
So it's, you know, takes some creativity, I guess.
For sure. Awesome. Well, if you guys have any questions, please let us know. You can always jump into the Discord, which is at https://discord.gg/devheads. And one of the things for those of you who are not, that's for those of you who are not Discord native. Obviously, if you're a Discord native, you just go and search for the DevHead server. But we do have another one of these lined up for next month. It's same sort of deal where we're going to be looking at some equipment that is sub $1,000 USD, so adjusted for inflation, which is all over the place right now. So forgive us if we're a little bit over or under that barometer. So if you have equipment or tools or things that you'd like to be reviewed, let us know, and then we'll look for opportunities to also raffle some of this stuff off. So keep an eye out so that we can when we publish sort of giveaway links, and you guys might be the lucky winner of this Westo Big FNIRSI, which is a 23. Which one is it? 22C23T.
2C23T. And if you could tell us how to pronounce it, and then I could give you some extra points.
No, for sure. Yeah. So anyway, this is a lot of fun. Always great to talk to you, Jeremy, and I'm looking forward to continuing this series, Debug on a Budget. You guys, if you have any suggestions or recommendations or anything you want, please ping us in the community, and we will be happy to review and consider. So thanks a lot, Jeremy. We'll see you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Take it easy.